Hey, we're looking at Scott's custom book that he. Go
So,
ahead, explain what you did with your book here, Scott.
okay, so this is a book that I bought from an artist named Ken Landgraf. Ken Landgraf was a lesser known Bronze Age artist. I really didn't know about him until I saw him on the internet selling books, selling his book. And this book looked interesting. It was kind of expensive. I ended up spending about $30 on it with shipping and everything.
Yeesh.
But it was bound with this thing, this plastic thing. It was stapled and bound.
Uh huh.
And I wanted the book, and so I got it. And I thought, well, and you couldn't open it hardly.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I know that binding. Yeah.
I took the plastic off, and I saw it was three sections of basically 25 pages stapled together. I mean, I think he printed it like his laser printer or copied it or something. I mean, it's one side of the page kind of deals.
Yeah.
But so what I did is I took it apart, I unstapled it, and then I rearranged. I laid everything out on my desk, and I rearranged it because it was very stream of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
There was no organization. I mean, there's no table of contents or anything.
So it's you have basically edited the guy and
Yeah.
said here we go. This is how you should have put it together.
Well, yeah, like I put all his perspective stuff in one spot.
Uh huh.
You know,
Yeah.
so
Makes
here's what
sense.
you see all this. There's it's kind of a perspective as applies to figure, and then it goes into like the figure girls. He's got a thing on drawing girls.
Mm-hmm.
There's more perspective. I didn't say it's perfect, but
Well, I used to always when I was a little less knowledgeable about what a guy could get from a book, I would never buy a book where I didn't like the guy's artwork if he was supposedly teaching me how to draw.
oh yeah,
But then I ran across a lot of books where if you dig just slightly deep, it's like, oh yeah, I needed to know that. Yeah, this or that in a book is you know someone's always got something they can be teaching you if they've been around like this guy has.
yeah. Now see the problem is, let's see, like I've run into this when people look at Bridgman's work.
Hmm.
They
Oh
go,
well,
oh,
Bridgman is one of the big mysteries to a lot of people in the world. They don't get it when they look
yeah,
at him.
yeah. You got to look beyond. I mean, and this is not good in spots. I mean, this is not a beautiful woman.
No, no, no.
But
He's just
but the
showing you.
great
How,
structure
he,
is great. How the leg is turned like that. I mean, that's a real good drawing. If you drew that in your style or my style, the thing you want to get what the value is out of it. I mean,
hmm
and I don't know that people got to understand too. Comics worked a little bit different back then.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, he did some semi-dynamic. Probably, I think a lot of people. I saw notes about him that a lot of people found their encounters with his storytelling kind of memorable.
yeah,
He had a kind of an impact on people.
but I love how he breaks this down into planes. Everything has a real solid look to it.
Hmm.
And anyway, that's why I bought that. But I modified it so I could use it because what I've been doing is copying because I'm done with my comic book,
Hmm.
and so I've been. Let me see if this is the book I want. Oh yeah, so I've been drawing in my sketchbook. I don't know if you. I think I was drawing. This is my 11 by 14 sketchbook, so it doesn't leave the house because it's too big to carry around.
Hmm.
But I've been kind of messing with some. Oh, and I had another one. I got about three of these things floating around, different sizes. Um, you know.
Hmm.
Anyway, so that's what I've been doing. That and Christmas cards. I've
Very cool. Very cool.
been addressing Christmas cards. We're sending out Christmas. This year or last year we went. Actually, it was this year in January. We went to New York to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and they had their packs of Christmas cards on sale. So I bought 2 packs of Christmas cards, and I'm sending out Christmas cards.
Well, will it be obvious that the New York origins on the Christmas cards?
Yeah, I'll show you one.
Okay.
So like this is one. It's
Now,
been,
now you used to have a okay, yeah, uh-huh.
and see it's
You
got
used to have a Christmas card that you illustrated, right?
yes, and I thought about doing that, but I emailed those and I came across these, and I really did it with the intention of sending cards to chiefly to the people of my church to mail. The idea was I would mail these.
Mm-hmm.
But I've got a nice little stack here of cards, and I did it. This is how old I am now. I did it. I did a Christmas letter even. So
Cool. Oh,
so
back in the day, or you're doing that as well this time?
no, I did it. I did it Monday or Sunday.
Oh, cool.
I did the cards or the letter, and then yesterday or no Monday I did the letter, and then yesterday I started addressing cards, and and you're getting one, by the way, Ellis.
Okay, well, you aren't, because I don't do that. Sorry, I don't give
That's
a card to anybody. I just got a card. I got a card from an aunt, my busybody aunt, and she gave me $2, and I'm going to spend that $2 on Lotto. So
okay. Well, there's no money in my card.
no money.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
never mind. I'm just kidding.
There's a letter.
Okay,
There's
a
a
letter. All right.
I think I'm gonna draw on the other pad, but anyway,
I'm sorry, I'm diminishing that. I watched a guy today on YouTube that is kind of an autism expert because he's autistic himself,
yeah,
but he talks about the spectrum, and he gave within 10, 12 minutes, he gave a big lecture on the 7 main things that identify if you might be on the spectrum.
yeah.
And it was pretty obvious that I'm kind of on the spectrum. Uh, for autism, not for anything special, in terms of like being able to walk into Vegas and walk out a millionaire, just strictly all the stuff that gives you a hard time in life. I've got all those things. So it's like, social awkwardness, all the crap that you would expect that if you've got a little bit of autism that you would have. And it's like, okay, you know what? I did pretty well with all that. It's like, I understand that it would have been better to feel like you could jump off the railing at a big pool party in Florida and not be embarrassed to do it and feel like, hey, I belong. Let me join into the crowd. And I'm not that way. It's like the crowd. I've always been, extremely uncomfortable and felt like I was going to be ejected from the crowd at any moment, just not belonging. And that's all part of that feeling unease of the autistic kind of person. I'm not, I'm way down there. I've been able to get along quite well, and probably there was some sort of turning point where I didn't have to reinforce my natural tendency to autism so badly, and probably could have been much more of a. And I was much more of a success and much more of a social person for a long time. But it's just.
I don't think you can turn that on and off if you're autistic, Ellis.
Well, I think so. I think you can. He talks about periods of where you kind of get exhausted while you're in the mode of your adaptation, and that's what I was in. I had adapted after going through the period that really cemented how autistic I was, puberty on all the way through college. And then I had a kind of fought my way out of it and had a long period of very social kind of stuff going on. And that included the period of getting a girlfriend and moving to San Diego. So all this was extremely good for me in terms of like fighting it off. But, eventually a lot of things dropping in around your ears. And the thing is that really identified when you identified people that have autism, it's like, and I consider this like my superpower, is they like to do things, it's like Rain Man. They like to do things over and over. They love repetition. They like to eat the same things. They like to, and like I say, my ability to not be bored with my lifestyle, that's practically a superpower. most people would be, going mad with my lifestyle. And
Oh,
and me, it's like, all right, this is
I,
great. This is like a warm blanket. Okay, I'll quit talking about myself here
I
on
can't
that
get I
stuff.
can't get
But
I can't
what?
get L or L Dog as he's calling himself now. Apparently, I can't get L Dog to do anything hardly outside of his home. He's perfectly
Yeah.
content to stay in his house, I think.
Oh yeah.
Um. So okay. So have I told you about? I'm over the 3D department now.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So
it's going smooth or what?
well, as smooth as anything can go. I think it's. I'm over. So for our listeners or viewers, I'm over three departments at work now. I'm over our 3D department. I'm over tool and die, which makes all the medallions and that sort of thing, which I've been in for years. And then when the former boss retired, I was handed the reins. Eventually, I am over. I recently was given the leadership role in our sculpting department. Again, the guy in charge retired. They moved that department into a room. They made a bigger department for us, and we're all in there. And the and then I got put in charge of our 3D department, and so I'm adapting. I got two new departments added to me in a space of about 3 weeks, maybe, and so I'm adapting to this.
And your 3D program is Maya,
Z
right? ZBrush.
ZBrush.
Okay. That's the only thing you guys mess with is being able to sculpt.
They do a few other things, but mostly it's ZBrush.
Hmm.
Uh, so I'm over these guys. I say guys. There's both of these departments. All the departments have girls in them, or a girl. There's a girl in all the departments. So I'm over about 10 artists and sculptors and 3D people and machinists and I spend a lot more time dealing with the other departments than I ever thought I would. Uh, and
How's the stress? Is it less or more?
definitely more stress, but it doesn't bother me. I mean,
Hmm.
I don't stress. My job, my work is the kind of place that if you're prone to stress, it's a bad place because it's very. I work in an awards company. It's extremely deadline orientated.
Yeah, too many deadlines.
The
Yeah.
first email I wrote today, Ellis, started off going, "What in the world is going on? If we're going to make this deadline, we have to get this solved immediately.
Yeah.
Call me!"
Yeah.
Exclamation mark. you know, and
Yeah.
I got a call about 5 minutes later from the salesperson. But and we got that resolved, by the way. But it literally took me getting involved and being like, "Look, this is not going to go if we keep. We've got to make some progress on this." And he talked to me, and I was like, I will fix the art. There was an art issue. It was a color issue. They wanted a Pantone color that wasn't in the color books, and so everyone was freaked out. And I'm like, well, is it a Pantone color? Because the books don't cover all of them. Well, it was.
Yeah.
So then it had to be, is it something we can replicate in production? And I found out it is something because their book has it, and it has the mixing code, so they can mix the paint, so we're good to go, man. It's off to the races. But
Hmm.
no one, no one stuck their nose in there like that.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what you know. But so I was promoted, or not really promoted, because there wasn't. It was just like, oh, I got more people
Yeah.
under
Yeah.
me, and I haven't seen a dime more money. Which that's, I mean, the company is like we got to stay afloat kind of mode.
Right.
So not really about money, right? I told my wife, I said, I'll either make a lot more money in a year or I'll be unemployed. So
Well, yeah.
because
We'll see where the
yeah, just
economy is allowed to go for things that aren't, uh, you know, uh, good for the
yeah,
billionaire class. Basically, I don't know
yeah, 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 without
how hooked up you are with the billionaire class at that
well,
company, but
well,
that's what you need in terms of like your security from henceforward. Is like, are you
well
in good with the billionaire class?
anyway, irregardless of that, which I don't disagree. I just don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah, the irregardless of that, so it was weird because the 3D people have not really had a boss ever. They've been under somebody, but he's been upper management, and they've just kind of been allowed free reign. And so I was very concerned about how they would react to being under someone. And so the first this goes back to your autism thing because
Go ahead. Oh,
the,
it does. It
so
links back. It circles around. Wow.
listen
This is
listen,
okay.
settle down. Yeah, the so uh, so this was Thursday. Friday, I go in. I go in, and I had to go up to one of my other departments because these departments are all not in one area. They're kind of spread out a little bit. And I came back, and they go, "Hey, one of the guys brought donuts." I go, "Really? Cool." And I go, "Awesome." And they go, "We were waiting on you." And I go, "Why?" And they go, "Well, it's to celebrate your promotion." And so I go, "Oh, okay. So this is cool." And so one of them jokingly says, "Are you gonna make a speech?" And I go, "Yeah, I'll make a speech." And so I ripped out a little 5-minute speech about why the company put us all together and how everyone seems to be happy with what everyone is doing and how we were collaborating and how this was going to be great. And I think that it opened up a lot of opportunities for all of us. And the company is watching, and they're happy, and that hopefully this will be a big deal. And they spent this money making this nice room and putting us all together. So hopefully we'll make it work for them. Anyway, along those kind of lines. So I think
That's pretty good.
I don't think I'm autistic based off of that. I don't know, maybe, but
No,
probably not.
that's another good indicator. Some of my worst experiences have been people that I kind of felt pressured to talk on something that they found interesting about me, being in video games or whatever, and went ahead and did well. Just as recently as oh
Oh, at the school.
at OU, what's his name? That I
Jeff
should know.
Provine.
Jeff
Jeff
Provine.
Pro-
Yeah, Jeff Provine. Cool guy. He
yeah.
thought I should be able to get up in front of his students and give a pretty good lecture on Jack Kirby. And on paper I probably should be able to, but boy, I tell you what, I couldn't wait for that to be over with. That was
It's
because
like,
for one thing,
well,
students are only built one way. They look up at you like, what new version of hell is this going to be? In terms of like their enthusiasm for the speaker. So that
oh
instantly,
yeah,
I'm instantly very sensitive to that. And
that's the care about that. See, I don't care about that.
yeah,
I'm
you
just
have to be you have to be totally indifferent to that. You have to look out at that guy that's giving you the stink eye, and you have to say, "How are you doing?"
yeah,
That's basically
yeah.
you got to be your attitude.
Well, I've seen this in action with us when we've been like downtown, have been approached by security guards about what are you all doing here, drawing, what's going, and you
Yeah,
immediately freeze up. And I'm like, hey,
yeah,
we're
yeah,
good
yeah.
artists. We're gonna immortalize your building in our comic books. So we're gonna draw every bit of it. You know, here's what you have, or maybe you have, or maybe you don't care. People will do what you tell them to do.
Well, yeah, that's what Adams is always trying to stress that just a little bit of
Oh,
suggestion goes a long way.
oh, absolutely. I agree with that. I mean, you got to be confident about it, and you can't push it. I mean, because you'll kind of snap them out if you push them too much.
Yeah, that's
You tell
hypnosis.
them wallet,
Yeah,
yeah, you give me your wallet. That's not going to work.
yeah.
But it's like, well, we're not doing. We're just here doing this, and it's no big deal. Then
Well, no, I do several things wrong. I don't dress well. I don't do. Yeah,
nah,
yeah.
I don't think that matters. I mean,
No, I mean that matters quite a bit. It matters quite a bit. You have to look like you belong someplace.
well, yeah. I mean, you don't want to look like you don't belong.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's a subtle difference, but I was down there the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and some security guard was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Hey, I'm drawing." Oh, okay. And you know, I think I don't know. I can usually make it work for me, but yeah, people are pretty suggestible. I mean, I hate
Yeah.
to say it, but
Well, it sounds
I mean,
like you hated to say it.
yeah,
Just kidding.
say it.
Okay.
You can manipulate all these people. Oh, hey, I want to show you something.
Okay.
I brought an object lesson. I don't know how many people were watching. So I checked this out of the library. I don't know if
Yeah, Dune.
this the
Frank
graphic
Herbert's
novel.
Dune.
It
Oh,
just
a
came out.
graphic novel version.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it and I'm trying to read it, and I'm going. I mean, look at this. This is as boring as. I mean, it's the art is nicely illustrated. I mean, it's kind of a blah style. There's not much of a style to it. It's kind of that European thing. The guy, in fact, I think Raul Allen may be like European. That may be a Portuguese name or Spanish or something. But it's not real impressive to me for what it is. I mean, it did not
Well,
make me
yeah,
want.
its subject matter is so grandiose and everything. You think someone would want the well, you'd have to practically have a team of artists doing something as big as what you'd want to have Dune look like.
So I'm gonna
Which is
contrast it with this. Now, this is I've owned this for years.
Steranko,
And,
Steranko.
yeah, Stranko did the cover. This is a paperback version of the or Marvel Comics, but I think it's drawn by Al Williamson.
Oh, really? Oh, well, that's going to be great. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I think I
Well,
remember
it's a
that
couple.
now.
Al Williamson is the main guy, but look how cool. I mean, this makes you want to read it. And
Oh,
it's
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Yeah, big, nice splash pages. Of course, a lot of those are just are frame copies, basically, but Williamson was great for making
yeah,
sure he had his reference together. Yeah.
yeah. I thought the contrast, even though this one, you can tell it's chopped up to fit the paperback.
He was the best one to add to Frazetta in the old DC comic days. He got a lot of Frazetta's kind of energy and everything whenever they worked together. Yeah, yeah, that's nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
there may be shots that are only in Williamson's mind. That may not entirely be the movie stills. I think there's a lot of invention in there.
oh, yeah, I think so. I think so. I
Yeah.
mean, I thought that it struck me when I was looking at that Dune thing. It's like, man, that Blade Runner thing was awesome. I thought it was interesting to compare the two adaptions.
Yeah, I wonder what his timeline was on producing that. Of course, it's like just going like that generous breakdown of going from page to page and a whole page getting just one panel. You say that was done in a comic book form and then reformatted?
Yes, I believe this was originally a comic book.
Yeah,
They broke it up.
that got a. I like that idea of completely reformatting. That's a cool idea.
Yeah, I have a couple of these that were reformatted from comic books. It was kind of
Hmm.
popular in the 80s.
Yeah, it looks cool. They ought to do it more often. Look at that. That's great. A little paperback size. That's one of my favorite formats. Is about 6x9 or thereabouts.
Something like that. 1982.
Very cool.
I thought the contrast was pretty cool. Just compare the two.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. No. Dune is going to be. It's obviously there's big worries that it's going to suffer. The huge hit of the theaters dying, basically, and so it's going to have to come out. I think there's a whole bunch of movies that are supposedly going to be direct to
all of
what?
Warner's all of Warner's 2021 movies they've already announced are going to be sent to HBO
They're
Plus. I don't know if
at,
it's instead of or in addition to going to
in
theaters.
addition to, I think they're saying to the theater owners, okay, you can have it, but don't, if nobody shows up, we don't care.
Yeah, you don't get it. Oh, they're already. Have you seen all the people complaining? Because a lot of the people who worked on the movies, their compensation depended on box office.
Yeah, sure,
So
sure. I mean,
and
it's right there in paper, and they can't argue for anything else. Yeah,
and it's different for streaming and the director is it Villeneuve that I think it was the director of Dune has said, this is Christopher Nolan. I think it's
no, he didn't direct
somebody
it.
wrote a big article about how it wasn't it was gonna they were killing the industry and
Yeah.
eventually it's gonna kill the whole industry by doing this you
Hmm.
know for no reason to announce this ahead of time. There's a vaccine coming out and they're announcing this
Yeah.
and there's a lot of people think it's because they want to build up HBO Plus and did something like Netflix, and it hadn't panned out like that, and so they're trying to do this as a way of building it up, and they'll blame it on COVID, and then if they build it, they're gold. If they don't, then they've killed the theaters for no reason.
Yeah. Speaking of Netflix, I just saw this movie called Mank, and I called this particular segment "Ranking Mank." Have you heard of Mankiewicz? He supposedly helped write. Well, he did help write, or did write almost entirely, Citizen Kane.
No,
And
yeah,
this shows this little period of Hollywood, and it's really brilliantly done by David Fincher. Who did the Social Network movie and a couple other great movies, Alien 3, if you like that one. What
yeah,
they killed Newt right off the bat. Poor thing, she went through all that, and but he did a great job, and Gary Oldman does his usual great job of acting the part. And but it's got this big emphasis on Upton Sinclair in it, who was
no,
a
really,
communist running for a governor of California at the time. They make a big distinction that he's a socialist. He's a communist, and he's running for governor, and Oldman's character's sympathies are totally with Upton Sinclair, and so of course that's going to really annoy me, in terms
yes,
of like having to watch it, but it doesn't matter. It just shows you the differences between the two political extremes. I totally enjoyed the movie, allowed myself to enjoy the movie, just because it's so well done on so many levels. But boy, I hated the idea of the reverie for Upton Sinclair. It's just nonsense. But
no,
have you ever? I read Oil, which is what There Will Be Blood is based on.
oh really?
Yeah,
I when
yeah,
I was a kid read The Jungle part of it,
yeah,
which
yeah. The Jungle. Yeah,
about the meat packing plants or whatever.
yeah. Who was that president that supposedly jumped up and cried he'd been poisoned or something like that after he read it? I guess it's Teddy Roosevelt or something like that.
Not Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah, it was somebody.
It may have been Teddy. That might have been about the right time frame.
Yeah, turn of the century.
So, so Mankiewicz is that the grandfather Ben Mankiewicz, the host
You
of
know what?
TCM?
It turns out to be the grandfather of Ben Mankiewicz. You were correct. So
Okay.
that name Mankiewicz, I knew there was something rolled around the back of my head about it, but I read an article about it, and he said, he said Fincher was exactly right not to get in touch with any of us about the making of the movie, just make it his own. And then he got in touch with him. He actually has a cameo as a voice talent in the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a good movie. Highly recommended in terms of like just a beautiful, great character study. If you like Hollywood, if you like lore about people like Orson Welles, you're going to dig the movie. Well, like what?
If you like
You
comics,
Yeah, if you like commies, yeah. If you're big on commies, it goes there too. Speaking of being big on commies, this just goes to show you that I like to torture myself. I've got Reds.
you're still
Uh,
on Twitter, so that tells me something a lot.
yeah, oh yeah, exactly. There is a lot of self torture going on in my life. Um, Reds, which is by Warren Beatty. I was just reading all the trivia on Reds, and that's a fascinating vanity project on Warren Beatty's part. The movie's over 3 hours long, but it was about 200 times that much film was shot
Oh God.
to make the movie. He supposedly, Gene Hackman, he was in Bonnie and Clyde, and as a favor to Warren Beatty for that great career boost, he worked for free on this Reds movie doing a cameo.
Tut.
He made him do 100 takes.
I was going to say, no idea that it was going to
Yeah.
be how much it actually cost him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it nearly broke him spiritually to work with Warren Beatty on Reds.
Never work for free because you cannot quit.
Yeah.
That's the problem with working for free. What are you going to complain and say I quit?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you can, but
Oh yeah, you could walk out and say, "Well, I'm not missing any money here." I mean, if you wanted to be that way about it.
Yeah. But
I'm not using this tool enough. But anyway, it was kind of fascinating how because everybody was in the exact same boat. Everybody hated the number of takes Beatty seemed to want to do. So that tells me, Beatty was rolling in it somehow. Either he had other people's money or he had his own money because he'd been in some of the top flicks for about 4 years in a row, and this one is kind of the one that marks where he kind of falls off the cliff in terms of like public appeal. He'd been building up, and then you go ahead.
Well, I saw a movie. I checked a movie on the library. I cannot remember the name of it, and it had a female director, and it was a deal I was reading about because it was just terrible. I was reading about it and kind of found out it was Warren Beatty was involved in it, and I think he acted in it, and he pushed to get this female director because he felt very strongly that this movie should have a female director. And when the movie came out and tanked, I mean, it ruined her career. She didn't do another movie for like 30 years.
Was it like The Fortune?
No, I forget I cannot remember the name of it. It was a romance of some kind or something. And he talked about how he always felt bad because
Ishtar. Ishtar.
No, it wasn't. No, she came back to do Ishtar though. I think.
Okay.
I think it was the same director. Now that you say that, but he was talking about how he had this reputation for being this feminist, and he had ruined this woman director's career. Kind of inadvertently, but
Yeah.
I think she did direct Ishtar. Now you got me curious.
Well, yeah, we can look it up real quick. I think she was also involved in the one with Richard Burton and Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. She's a very well-known top writer.
Oh yeah, hang on just a second. I can grab my
phone. Go ahead, look it up. I can look it up probably quicker than you could. I'll do it. Let's see. I'll get a tab open.
Do what?
I'm looking up Warren Beatty.
You go that route. I'll look up Ishtar because I think.
Oh, that'd be good. That would be quicker. I typed on the wrong keyboard.
Oops.
Her name is Diane something.
I'm not watching the people in the comments are probably dying.
Oh, I don't think we have anybody joining us today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't think so, as far as I can tell.
Oh well.
If they
Sorry.
are, I've been dutifully ignoring them. I
Elaine May.
didn't. Elaine May. Yeah, yeah. So I was wrong. It's not Diane. Diane was his girlfriend during the making of Reds. The one that was Woody Allen's girlfriend for a long time. Forget her name.
Oh, it was called A New Leaf. That's the movie I'm thinking of.
A New Leaf. Okay, okay. Elaine May. Did you? Oh gosh, I
No,
wish I could quit.
I may be completely wrong about.
Well, I mean, yeah, she probably you can't kill a
No,
career like that thoroughly because she's just too well thought of. I mean, she's a pretty well connected person.
I don't. I've gone down the rabbit trail.
Yeah, sure. Elaine May, but no, she was involved in a lot of big deals. She's like I say, if you're that good a writer, it's like that Mankiewicz movie. He was just nobody's joke of a writer. He was a very good writer, and I guess his brother Joe Mankiewicz is even thought more highly of. So they were really well revered writers for that worked well.
Anyway, so what'd you do today, Ellis?
Oh, I went for a walk. Meant to write more, didn't do it. Uh, I've been warming up by doing a lot of wash drawings to say, okay, I've both written and drawn on the same day, so that the days feel like what?
I just laughed that you said just some of the way you said that made me laugh. Written and drawn on both. I've written and drawn the same day.
Well, you can ignore both of them, and in fact, you can get tunnel vision on the fact that you should be doing this or that, and then ignore the fact, well, I draw as well. I ought to do that as well, even if it is a writing day supposedly. And the writing is going pretty well. Like I say, anytime you sit down, and it's almost like mysterious that
Yeah.
something some great chemistry happens. Also, I'm listening to on my way to the library. I'm listening to a new John Sanford book called Heat Lightning, and so I'm surrounding myself with other writers that uh, manage to be pretty entertaining. What are you reading anymore? What are you up to
Uh,
as
I
far as reading goes?
mean books, and it's driving me crazy because I can't find anything I want to read. Like last night before I went to bed, I was reading a book that I had on my shelf about airplanes, just kind of just a historical overview. So my wife does puzzles. She's working from home. She's like a lot of people. She's kind of bored, so she's done some puzzles. And somehow we got to talking about it, and I told her, I go, you ought to build a model plane, and and uh, and so I think we're going to work on that because she's, we've got a New Year's and a Christmas weekend coming up, and
Mm-hmm.
so the a lot of free time that we couldn't spend out necessarily.
Does she do Sudoku puzzles?
Uh, yeah, she's done a little bit of that, but I'm trying to convince her to do something that at least when you're done, you have something. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so so I was telling her, you ought to build because Michelle was a pilot at one point. She took flying lessons. Let me put it that way. She took flying lessons at one point. She really enjoyed it, and so I thought she would. And she's an engineer, so I thought she would think that was kind of cool.
What's she
And
kind of checked out for? Is Cessnas or what? What is she good at?
oh, she does well. She's her license her training took her to a couple solos, and that was about it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
it
you're
was
right
all
out
in
there. You're right out there by H.E. Bailey. Is that where you
no
did it?
no Wiley Post,
Wiley Post, H.E. Bailey. That's
the Turnpike.
the turnpike.
But yeah, well, she used to work for a company that had a company plane, and so she took lessons in the company plane. It was a Cessna 175.
Yeah. Those are, I
So
think, the probably the most popular small prop planes is the
yeah,
Cessnas.
yeah. And anyway, so I don't know if I've convinced her to do that or not, but I think I'm Friday when I get off work, I'm gonna swing by a couple of Hobby Lobbies, see if I can find a decent. I want to find a model that I think would be, relatively easy to put together, but not so simple she knocks it out in 30 minutes. You know, did you ever build planes or models at all when you were a kid, Ellis?
No, just the virtual snap together kind of variety that the monster kits and a couple of the others put out that I guess they knew they were aimed at impatient kids. I don't know because the ones I did were so easy. You couldn't act like you were a great model builder to get those put together. But of course, a lot of
Oh
those
yeah,
became big collectibles. The
oh yeah,
those Aurora monsters I put together. I guess the big one I put together was the Hunchback, and I loved that may be a source of some of my early enthusiasm for model making because that the hump that went on the Hunchback, it was kind of cool to take that piece and and put it into place on the rest of the figure and say, wow, cool, look at that. It all comes together. It made you feel like the artist in charge of
normal,
creating it. What's
normal
that?
or normal deformed.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. That sort of thing. Yeah. If I'm remembering correctly, it seemed like it was a very distinct piece, and you can see as a model maker or a mold maker rather, where that probably was going to be a challenge to have this piece. While you're deciding what pieces to break it up into,
yeah.
to figure out what all your discrete pieces are going to be. Well, I'm not doing very good drawing today. You've already filled up a page of your
Got a page of people,
mannequins, basically.
yeah, mannequins. That's why I'm just trying to get you know,
No, there's a couple of them pretty good there.
yeah, I think that,
The one falling backward is the sort of stuff you do need to work for. It's got a really oops, looks like you went somewhere. Probably ran out of battery power or something.
every Wednesday I'm on the Don't Call Me, and every Wednesday he
Oh,
calls, you know, but that's okay. He's gonna get to talk to me.
yep.
So anyway, yeah, yeah. So what were you saying about this one?
Oh, that one is yeah. Its legs are really well done. The thigh on the top thigh is really going back in space just the way you'd want to, and yeah, I like it. The volumes on it are really good.
Good. Well, I've been studying after Ken Landgraf. So
Oh, there you go. Yeah, we do.
no, the book. Hang on just a second. I'll show you what I've been reading the last couple of days. So
Well,
this is the book I've been taking with me to work over the last couple of days and reading. It's put out by Imagine FX,
hmm
but it's got the Ron Lemon stuff in it.
oh, Ron Lemon, great instructor and
So it's
fantastic
got a
artist.
got a couple pages
Yeah,
about the Riley back.
those are reproductions from that FX. Yeah,
Yeah, but the one thing I
or
like about it, when you get in here, he breaks the figure down in real, you know, defined shapes, which
hmm
is kind of nice.
No,
Anyway,
no,
this guy's
no. He's pure. You want to know the Riley method? There it is. He learned all that in Jeff Watts, and quickly
yeah.
became every bit the equal of Jeff Watts in terms of like being able to do anything Jeff did as certainly drawing. I was thinking about that the other day. Watts had another thing where he's got a book coming out where he, you know, he's going to study Bridgman for you. He's going to make a three-pronged attack on study of Bridgman and put that
Oh
book
yeah.
out, or maybe it's a video series. I'm not sure which, but Jeff is such a great artist and everything, but at the same time, Jeff ends up with things that like all of us, he's got certain limitations. Like if he tries to take on the idea of doing something as cool as Frazetta, which he reveres Frazetta, as you could probably say as much as I do, he's not going to pull it off because he's not got that thing of Frazetta's where he was ever like a cartoonist kind of guy. He was never. He didn't have that
Oh yeah.
Al Cap background or whatever. So you need that if you want to have that little extra oomph of and plus not to mention all the exposure he got with all the EC guys. And Frazetta just had a little bit of extra oomph of being around things that weren't just about being a great painter. It was about
Yeah.
storytelling and you could almost say a lot of gauche kind of stuff that gets added to hit the mix of Frazetta that Watts from that fine art background is never going to get.
Yeah. Yeah. I only know about Jeff Watts because he was at he always did a panel at San Diego.
Yeah. I had about three
pushing,
classes with him.
Yeah, pushing his Atelier or whatever you call them. Or promoting it, but they were usually interesting to go to. I'd go to those.
Sure. Yeah, I saw him and Ron Lemon on the same stage one time, painting the same subject. Yeah.
I saw both of them on the same stage. I don't think they were both working though. I think Ron was actually working, doing something or another. But and Jeff may have been talking. But Jeff had a few years ago. I went to the Cowboy Hall of Fame and they had their Pretty West show, and he had a painting at the Cowboy Hall of Fame, in the show. And I think the museum bought it for their personal collection. I think. So yeah, he's pretty good. I mean, I get what you're saying about he's not a Frazetta kind of guy.
Well, no, he's not. He's not a big fantasy imaginative guy. He is the classically trained, and I think he probably sampled the idea of being the guy that does concept art and just said, nah, it's not for me. Basically, he had the choice, and he's mainly an instructor and a guy that likes to, have his work seen in galleries.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. But yeah, he did Friday night thing that I watched the other night, and he was talking about his Bridgman book.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you've seen that. Okay, cool. Yeah, we probably get the same notifications. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I get notifications. No, I do because I get when he's gonna do it.
Mm-hmm, sure.
But yeah.
Well, I tell you what, YouTube is being. They've decided to just go full tilt until they get Joe Biden in there. They've said we're going to stop putting videos on that make any claim whatsoever that Joe Biden is not your president. It's like, yeah, it's been pretty extreme in terms of like policy coming down the pike. All this will go away the moment the new Scott Adams was talking about how the news is going to become perpetually boring now without Trump in place. And I always want to argue right there on the spot with Adams when he says something I think is so wrong, because he doesn't understand the policy for when they get their guy in is to roil the general public on a daily basis with some sort of controversy that will be more about sex rights and things like that.
Oh
That
yeah,
sort of
news will
stuff, that sort of crap that shouldn't even be in the national discussion will become what they put out first because they know it tweaks a whole lot of people, and that'll be the thing that they go 24/7 on, just to have that sort of you know basically like a good shoplifter does, so they can steal you blind with the other things they're up to.
watch my left hand while I rob you of my right
Yeah,
hand.
yeah, exactly. Um, and then plus it keeps them, it keeps everybody diverted from accountability, accountability, and of course all this stuff that's going
Yeah.
on, all that Swalwell stuff, all this stuff only is
What's the
going.
salt?
Swalwell is the guy that's, he's such an anti-Trump kind of character and been very important to all the impeachment hearings and all that. Turns out his main squeeze and money bundler is a Chinese spy, just straight up Chinese
Oh, that's the
foreign
guy.
asset. Yeah.
That's oh yeah, I saw that, and now he's blaming Trump for some reason.
Well, yeah. Well, no, he's saying he's being victimized, I guess, by this all the attention that's coming from Trump. It's like, leave me alone, Trump. You don't deserve to be, distracting the American public from your villainy.
Oh yeah. Well, that's usually
That's the
how.
way they do it. In fact, I think that's just is totally his tack. He's saying this needs to be investigated where this information came from. It's
Yeah,
like,
not,
what? No, what you need to be doing right now is telling us just how much you got milked by all these people that were giving you money and that were directly related to China. How much do you owe them?
yeah.
How much do they have on you?
Oh yeah. Anybody that thinks that China didn't want Biden in is not paying attention.
Oh yeah,
You know.
no, no, no. My nickname for him is China Joe.
Yeah.
He is their guy.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. 100%. Well, that's why they sent the virus over here. No,
Well, it's why the virus plays as big as it does. Yes,
oh sure,
it's
sure.
very well thought of as an attack on Trump. Is its main value. I said that this bears a lot to do with animation when you talk about anticipation, which is where you really rear back before you let go in animation. That
Yeah.
quality of
Kind
animation.
of.
That's what they're doing right now with all the news being made about supposedly we are going through all this big surging, and we're just, oh man, it's just almost out of control. It's the last little push of how bad Trump is doing before Biden gets it, and it's that big rear back before the punch is thrown. And then when Biden is in, it'll be like, my God, thank God for someone that knows how to do things. Because look at this, look at these
What?
numbers, Edna, or whatever the other news person's name is. Look at these numbers. I can't not believe this. That's what the difference is when you get someone that knows what they're doing in office. And it won't matter if it's got anything
Yeah.
to do with reality.
What do you do different? Well, first off, the numbers in Oklahoma, the numbers have been not bad the last week or so.
Well, yeah, but that's not the narrative you're going to be getting, and that's the way it'll be played. And you got to understand that all of this stuff is always played this way in elections. If they think the heartstrings can be plucked on homelessness, oh man, that's all you'll hear about when you're trying
Right.
to get a Republican out is all the people that are homeless. But and then when it gets in, the issue just completely disappears because it's hard to make those numbers move
Well,
on homelessness.
yeah, they're not gonna. Yeah, they're not gonna fix it. They're just gonna move on to something else because they can't
They just
fix it.
move on. They just
You know.
move on because they'll move on to how transsexuals should be treated better in terms of an issue because it's like something that
Well,
is just easier to float as something that you supposedly can do something about by virtue of making nice with this or that.
well,
It's
the
trash.
perfect example of that, sort of, is when Trump was running. Trump said, "I'm going to get the economy going," and Obama
Right.
very famously said, "What's he going to do? Wave a magic wand to get the? How's he going to get the? He can't get the economy going."
Yeah.
And then he got it going. They're saying, "Oh, he's taking credit for Obama's economy."
Exactly. No, that's all it took. That's what irritates me is that reality has so clearly become what people say it is, and that there is such a monopoly on what is said about our reality anymore. And it's like, no, man, you guys are. I know I'm being played. And I'm not a nut. I know I'm being played.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That is the thing. And it's like, well, where's it coming from? It's interesting. Somebody had a thing on social media. I don't know if it was on Facebook or what. One of my friends, and it was a handy chart to tell the difference between good, harmless and harmful conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
And one of the top ones, harmful conspiracy theories was, and it didn't explain them. It just had a chart and it had phrases.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the most harmful, one of them was George Soros. No explanation, just George Soros. So it's like
that's all it was, huh? It's like if you believe that George Soros finances half the stuff that is going on in the country, that it'd be nice if it would stop. Then you believe in a bad conspiracy theory.
Yeah. Right. But remember, at one point they were talking about how bad the Koch brothers were, but no one ever,
Well, that's gone away now. That one guy is the one brother is totally become a born again progressive. He
really?
used. Oh yeah. The one Koch brother is totally on board for the new international reset kind of thing that's going to be going on for all of us. Like I say, Joe, if he gets in, and it's really hard to be optimistic, even if Trump got in, that all the radiation, all the spokes are already in place for our domination by the billionaire class and the whole in China. And it's like there's not much to be done about it because it would take so much dismantling that it just isn't going to happen with the character of people we have. There's so few of them, and most of them are people that they understand the groundwork of what is there, and so they'll mention it and act like they might do something about it, like a Lindsey Graham. But they're just basically political animals saying they're playing to a crowd. They aren't. They've got no intention of stepping forward and actually taking any chances or taking a big move. But the only guy that's got the goods is Texas. What's his name? The guy that's going to be arguing in the Supreme Court for this recent thing. What's his name?
Cruz.
Ted Cruz. Yeah. Thanks. He's the only guy that's really got the goods that likes to wrangle over with our masters at this point. Well,
I'm
and
not
like I say, go ahead.
I'm not sure why people jump onto this so readily. You know?
It's comfort. All you'd have to do is tell me my Social Security was going away if I didn't start towing the line, or tell me my Social Security if I don't get a shot, I don't get my Social Security. And by God, it wouldn't matter if it knocked me down and set my IQ back 80 points. I'd go out and get that shot. You know.
Well, you wouldn't have much choice, really. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. Oh no, no, no. If someone told me my income was just going away, yeah, you've got me. You've got me in bondage. Yeah, totally.
yeah.
And that's the big thing about you can always snap a whip for every old person in this country. You can manipulate them, and they know that. They know that is the idea that you're ever going to be able to get cross with some public servant from now on and say I pay your salary. They'll just laugh at you. It's that day is come and gone where that attitude can never be enforced on them.
Right, because they're all unionized and they're all
Yeah, yeah.
insulated and they're all,
Yeah, all this stuff about all that extra relief package that was going to come down the line.
yeah,
There's billions of that they haven't spent that they still have,
right,
and they're going to hang on to that because of just stuff that they could be using it on for their own pensions and stuff like that. They may need it here or there for their own lifestyles in terms of like being the tax salaried people they are.
bail out whatever kind of government
Yeah,
entity
yeah,
they
yeah.
have.
They
Now,
hear that that there's a new crisis happening with this or that pension. It will be nice to move into that and say, okay, yeah, 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 we got you covered here. And of course, I say that as someone that just said my pension is something that completely important to me. It just shows I can't.
but
I'm not
Jamie,
ready to suit up and die for the this or that. Now you could, I mean, and this is where Hitler comes in. That they're always claiming that we're all suffering from Hitler delusions, but a charismatic enough guy could come along and tell you, yeah, we all need to suit up and be ready to die. But I'll tell you what, that'd be a very rare. Well, the hardships would have to get a lot more severe before, everybody's ready to do it. You know, and
yeah,
those hardships aren't here. We're all still pretty much asleep in terms of like
yeah,
just how complete we are, uh, being run.
you're a bundle of sunshine today, Ellis.
Well, what can you do? You get on Twitter for an hour and
Yeah,
you're a mess. Boy, I've been drawing I've been having fun drawing. I need to always get this iPad whipped up and working for me instead of just sitting passively with it. Got 89% charge. That's good. Plenty of juice in it.
yeah, yep.
How do you feel you're doing today? Look at that. You got a whole page filled up.
I'm doing pretty. This is good. This is good.
But like I say, the my biggest reaction to that is like, it's good for you, but I really feel like you do need to do, and I need to do it too. I was thinking about it today that when I saw somebody that had done a real good study from life, I said, I need to fall off and do some really good life study. Go back to not necessarily life drawing, but get a photograph and draw, what I'm seeing there. And I think you would get ahead of the game if you did a couple of really good life studies from somebody, a martial arts movie where a guy is bare chested, kill and kill again, or something like that. One of those movies where these guys that are like Bruce Lee are just all sinew and muscle. and do a couple of studies like that where you're drawing how people are put together from life versus you've got your own little system for creating characters. You might get a little extra oomph if you would just
How to
stop
do it? That's not a bad
and,
idea.
and draw some life drawing. I mean, you're wondering about stuff you need to be up to while you're idled on comic books. Get draw some life drawing.
That's not a bad idea. I'll do that over the next couple of weeks for sure. That's pretty easy to do.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It just takes taking a still. You could even take it into Photoshop and trace it for that matter.
Yeah, I think I'll probably do it. Non-digitally.
Yeah. No, it is probably better to do it via observation and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And of course the other big thing is like, and then make it female, and
Oh,
then you're also attacking that one thing that's harder to draw, which is the female.
oh yeah. Well, yeah, I can do that. I should do that. I got my big sketchbook here. I'll fill it with stuff like that. That's a good idea.
I
That's a good
I
idea.
I get supercharged when I finally sit down and draw the actual anatomy of from life. You just see how things go together so much clearer. It gives you
Oh yeah.
you come
Yeah.
away from it with like saying, okay, now I've got a oomph. I got to get a little oomph in my little created cartoons.
Yeah. Well, what I always got out of it was a lot of gesture
Yeah.
kind of, oh, okay, this person is standing this way and they.
Well, taking a freeze frame from a movie is also good for capturing, how
Yeah.
someone, it goes beyond being what a person can do with a pose to capture them in motion. Like someone
Freeze frame.
going in for a big soccer kick or something where all their muscles are yanked back and ready to explode.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Definitely.
How long have we been at this? Let's see. I guess not
Uh,
interacting with people is part of the issue.
yeah.
Oh, there we go. 1 hour, 7 minutes. How about that?
Yep. Yep. Well, you
Well,
about ready to call it?
yeah, I'm ready to call it. We can even if we do nothing but listen to it ourselves later, we'll
We have
we'll have something
people
we did
watching.
tonight. What's
Four
that?
people watching. So
Oh, there
we have
are.
four
Huh.
people. Yeah, and my subscribers have uh, I've gotten more subscribers to my YouTube channel. So
Very
I
cool.
don't know.
Yeah. You
I don't,
mentioned that. I've got it still in the links.
yeah, I'm getting more and more. I think I'm 121. So you
Very
know.
cool. Yeah.
So thank you to everybody that is following me now on Facebook or on.
Yeah, I think that is, of course, YouTube is constantly threatening to take it away. That's the deal. The moment you get your business model all set up with something like a YouTube, that can all just be yanked right out from under you if you think
Oh sure,
it's like, it's kind of insidious that way. How what that
there
power?
were
Of
probably
course, that's what we're discussing is power. They've got the power.
people making a fortune off of MySpace. you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, hey Ellis, I
Okay.
need to roll.
Okay,
Good to
I'm going to
talk to
let
you.
you go. We'll see you
Okay,
soon, Scott. Bye bye.
bye.
Ian Broad.